What it do, Durag Nation? Cyclops is finally here. Don't worry about how I posted this before Marvel Robbers did. Most importantly, I know exactly what the latest Duelist to hit the roster can do, and it's incredible. Thankfully, the devs didn't treat Cyclops like Blade, and instead, the leader of the X-Men is a lot closer to Daredevil and Elsa Bloodstone in terms of power. But he also has a fairly low skill floor, so you'll be able to pick the character up much easier compared to someone like Black Cat. But I know you want to do more than just be okay with the hero, so I'll be explaining exactly what his abilities do and breaking down the best way to play Cyclops so you can carry your games instead of being as useless as the average Spider-Man player. First, Hulk smash the hype button to share the guide and let's get it.
Victory is in my sight.
Cyclops has a strong 275 HP and is a long-range fighter, which already gives him a big advantage over most of the roster. As I said earlier, he's not super complicated as he only has 3 cooldowns. The trick is going to be how you use everything. He has 2 different primary fires. The first we see is his left click, which fires quick bursts of concussive blasts at the enemy, similar to how Ultron's beam works. This combos with his E ability. Blasting enemies with your primary charges your E, and when you use it, Cyclops shoots out a blast that can split off and auto-lock onto nearby enemies, while also granting him bonus health. It has a very quick 2-second cooldown, so this will be similar to Elsa Bloodstone's dash before the nerf, except instead of movement, Scott can damage multiple enemies while reaching 300 HP. He can do more than just damage with his blast though. Just like in the comics, Cyclops has a lot of different ways to use his optic blast.
Get off my lawn!
In this section, we see one of his movement abilities with the twist. After taking out Hela with his primary fire, Cyclops gets challenged by his teammate Wolverine in a 1v1. As a ranged character, a melee fighter being this close would normally be an issue, but not for Cyclops. His shift fires a blast that pushes both Cyclops and the target backwards while applying a slow effect to the enemy. We see the range is pretty crazy as it pushes Cyclops back near where he started and pushes Wolverine off the ledge. Definitely look for an opportunity to use this ability on maps where you can knock enemies off the edge. It has a 12-second cooldown though, so you want to be careful with how you use this ability. Save it for those off the map opportunities, or if you need to make a quick escape, either because you're taking too much damage and your team is losing the fight, or you're being pressed by a melee hero like Iron Fist or Daredevil and need to create some room to maintain your range advantage. But don't worry, this isn't the only ability Cyclops has when it comes to movement. Cyclops uses his F, which fires a beam at the ground that launches him directly into the air. Then he uses his passive to hover above the battlefield to maintain the high ground advantage. Next, he switches to his alt fire, which is right click. Instead of a short burst, this fires a constant beam that splits off and can bounce between different enemies and the environment. As we see, this can apply a lot of pressure. Cyclops does a ton of damage and the enemies have no way to escape since the beam splits off and is hitting 4 people at the same time. The next clip shows just how insane this can be.
Extreme force!
Cyclops uses E again, and it ricochets off of all 4 enemies and the wall, getting him up to 300 HP as well. After the 2-second cooldown, Cyclops goes back to his right click to fire the continuous beam and hit every enemy at once. Doing this adds another charge to his E ability, then he uses it again to finish the enemies off. When it comes to DPS, Cyclops is going to be challenging Moon Knight for best crowd control hero. And Cyclops might arguably be better because he doesn't have to aim and it doesn't matter if enemies are grouped up or not, which is the way to counter Moon Knight. Cyclops' beam seek enemies after bouncing off the environment too, so it's really hard to escape his pressure, especially when you need to stay on a convoy or capture a point. Next, we see a perfect display of the potential of his abilities when used correctly.
Propulsion beam!
Here we see him start on the point using his right click to apply pressure to multiple enemies. This charges his E, as we see it now has 2 charges, but then Blade tries to press Cyclops with his sword dash, but Cyclops counters with his shift to push Blade away and himself backwards off the point, and he's even able to go around the corner where he can now play behind cover and on top of a health pack. Daredevil and Blade chase him, but they were already low from getting beamed, and Cyclops easily takes them both out at once with the E, which bounces between them and gives Scott even more bonus health. Next, I gotta talk about his ultimate. Cyclops removes the limiters on his power and unleashes a huge optic blast that sweeps in front of him, destroying Groot's walls. But it has a secondary effect. It leaves behind explosive residue that detonates, causing another big burst of damage that wipes out the team. Here we see it from another angle with even more aura from Cyclops. Here he uses the F to get in the air first, and we see just how much area the beam covers. The first sweep hits nearly everything, and then the explosive leftovers cover the entire point. This is a very strong ultimate, not just because of the damage and area it covers, but the speed. If you do some damage to the enemy supports before popping this ult, they won't have time to counter with their own healing ultimate. Cyclops' ult is also another that can combo well with Doctor Strange and Groot to wipe out the enemy team. I think Cyclops is going to be banned a lot in rank during the first week. He does a lot of damage, plus he gets a 5% damage boost from being the team up anchor for Wolverine, but mostly because he doesn't require as much effort and skill to give value on like other heroes we've gotten. So good players will be able to master him quickly and just run lobbies. I think the best way to play him is similar to Phoenix and Moon Knight. Put pressure on the enemy tanks to push them back, and then look to take off angles and start beaming the enemy healers. Because remember, he has a ton of range and doesn't really need to aim. Plus, if you turn to pressure him, he can just jump up to high ground or use his shift to easily escape back to his team. So don't just sit behind your tank shooting in a straight line, apply as much pressure as possible. Because of his beams, he can pretty much do anything, including helping protect healers from dive characters. Actually, he might be the only hero right now that can easily deal with a diving Black Cat, besides Daredevil, so you for sure want a Cyclops on your team. I think the devs absolutely cook with this hero, except for not having him say, "To me, my X-Men." The rest of the content this season is also very impressive so far. If you missed it, I broke it all down for you as well. Click the video on screen to learn more. And a huge shout out to everyone supporting me on Patreon. Join for free so you never miss an update.